guys, thanks so much for coming in today. I hope you guys are all excited because after this week, you guys are going to be certified preschool teachers.
Yes.
So exciting. Okay. So this week, we are going to be doing something really, really fun. We're going to be going over some classic children's songs because we really want to teach our students how to interact socially with one another. So we're going to start off with a really easy one. It's called the telephone song.
Oh my gosh, I love that one.
Oh, that's great that you two have heard of it. Okay. So basically, you are just going to say what you would normally say on the telephone and, you know, pass it around to the next person. So why don't you two start us off and we'll just go on down the line, okay?
You ready? Hey, Colin.
Someone's calling my name,
Hey, Colin.
and I hear it again.
You're wanted on the telephone.
If it isn't Charles, then I'm not home.
Awesome job. You can give yourself a round of applause. Good job. Okay, so Charles, it's your turn now, okay? All right, let's see it.
Hey, Charles.
I'm holding your family at gunpoint.
Hey, Charles.
I demand a cash payment of $5,000.
You're wanted on the telephone.
And if you don't release the president by 5 p.m., they will die.
Marlene, Colin, great job. Charles, why don't we try your part again?
Did I do something wrong?
Yes, a little bit.
Was it pitchy or offbeat or something?
No, you know, why don't we just try it one more time, okay?
Hey, Charles.
Marlene Golden Haynes, I haven't seen you since that night in Serbia.
Excuse me?
Oh, come on. You remember. It changed both our lives forever.
I think you have the wrong person.
Well, if it isn't Marlene, I'm not home.
Oh.
How's that?
Good job, but I think we can still do a little bit better.
Was it something about my tempo? My gusto?
No, it wasn't that.
Strange. You said say what we usually say on the telephone. That's what I usually say. You know.
Oh my god.
Alright, how about you and I try just the two of us one more time?
Sounds great. Sounds great. Hey, Charles.
Someone's calling my name,
Hey, Charles.
and I hear it again.
You're wanted on the telephone.
No, they'll take me back to Guantanamo.
Welcome to Princeton Tonight. I'm your host, Marcelo Lukes. Really excited to have you guys watching the show. I'm here sitting down with Sarah Levan and Solène Levan, the Levan sisters, and are part of a incredible musical family group and have also had an incredible number of entertainment accomplishments. Thank you so much for coming on the show here today.
Oh, very happy to be here.
Awesome. So you guys got your start quite young, as I hear. You began singing at a young age, acting at a young age. Tell me a little about like what that was like of beginning your entertainment career so young.
Yes. Well, my father is an internationally performing concert pianist, classical music. So we heard music all the time. We were born in France.
Yes.
So our father is American, our mother is French. And music, we were just immersed in it since we were very young. So my sister actually could sing before she could talk.
Could sing before she could
Yes.
talk. Okay, so
Yes.
what's that like? Is that like singing a Puccini aria when you have to get your diapers changed or something?
It's pretty close because, yeah.
Yes, I memorized actually the first part, or maybe the whole thing of the magic flute. You know, I used to sing the melodies all the
Wow.
time, which I think is crazy because now I can't do that anymore.
Wow.
I don't know why.
Wow, so
But
there was always music
there was-
playing in your
yes,
house.
Yes.
always, and it was, you know, whether it was musical theater or classical music, jazz, yeah, we just, all the time, it was heard.
So I think it was inevitable that at some point we would become musicians.
Wow. And so you've actually performed with your family, with your father and your brother. So what's that like, and working with your family to create music? I'm sure that's not an experience that most people have with their families, right? Being in a band together.
Yes. Well, I have such a great respect for what my father does that I think it was wonderful he was able to transmit that to us. And I think it's just an extension of the love that we have as a family. We're very close. And so when we get on stage, we just want to give to people as much as possible. And it started again when I was 4 years old. My sister was 6. Later on, we were joined by our little brother, who's now 16. He's a jazz and classical pianist.
Wow.
And with our father accompanying on the piano.
That's
So
lovely.
Yeah, and it's a variety act, so we do a lot of different stuff from classical music to more popular or jazz and folk, even folk music
as
like
well.
bluegrass and
Wow.
that stuff, violin, singing, harmonizing, anything, you just name it.
As you started so young, what has changed since you began to sing and perform at only 4 and 6 years old?
Surprisingly, not terribly much, because we took as models our favorite performers like
Yeah.
Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, Judy Garland was
Wow.
a special favorite. So we tried to have that same professionalism and the sense of giving to an audience since we were young. But of course the repertoire has changed a bit because I'm an opera singer. Obviously you can't do that when you're 4 years old. So yeah, recently that's a lot of what I've focused on is classical singing.
Wow.
And my sister,
more
classical
technical
violin.
Violin pieces mixed in the program as well. So
Incredible. So Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly, Judy Garland, these are performers that most people at 4 and 6,
don't know
especially in our generation, are not that familiar with. So I imagine that when you came to the U.S., those were the stars that you were really excited by. Wow.
Yeah.
And have you taken on new idols as you've grown up, or is Gene Kelly and Judy Garland, are those still the people that you're most trying to emulate in terms of the golden age of musical theater?
Yes, well, you know, it's interesting what you were saying, because that was in a large part why we moved to America. I was 5 and she was 7.
Wow.
It was not only because there are more performing opportunities for children in general in America. It's much easier to find an outlet, but also because we imagined that America was the land of the old musicals. We
Yes.
imagined that Fred Astaire would be waltzing down
Wow.
the avenue, you know, to greet us with Ginger Rogers.
Oh yeah.
Didn't quite happen
Yeah,
that
yeah,
way,
yeah.
but
quite a
almost-
disappointment.
Almost because their spirits are with us. So
Yeah.
they are still our idols in many respects. But we have others, Fritz Kreisler, for example, the wonderful Viennese violinist. And they have a lot in common, actually. They all have a lot of charm, a lot of heart. And for us, that's very important.
Yeah,
I would say.
that's lovely. And so I imagine that the latest film, La La Land, for you was really incredible to be able to see that reimagination of the classic musical in a new style.
Yes.
True.
And as a matter of fact, we're going to be working with the director, Damien Chazelle. We're super excited about that.
with the French troupe L'Avant-Scène, because we're going to be putting on the French musical Les Demoiselles de Rochefort, and we're going to play the two twin
Twins.
sisters.
Oh wow! Okay.
Typecasting.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And so, any other projects that you guys have have coming up, or things that you're looking forward to do in the future?
Yes. Well, I have a a disc coming out, my debut recording.
Wow.
With an internationally distributed label, Shivak Collection. And that's classical music, that particular project. I'm singing some world premieres, pieces that have never been recorded before. Really beautiful gems by a French composer, Amy Paladis. So singing in my native tongue.
Wow. And when's that coming out?
It's coming out this year, probably next semester.
Awesome.
I still have to write to the notes. Yeah.
Wow.
And there's that. We're doing the musical, and we're also giving lots of concerts. I have one on April 6th.
Okay, April 6th. Mark your calendars, everybody. April 6th. And what type of music are you going to be performing then?
I'll be singing in Handel's Messiah.
Wow.
Yes, with an English conductor.
That is really exciting. That's really exciting. So, you know, you're also Princeton students. I guess the balance of being able to be a Princeton student and also try to pursue a professional career in music must be quite something. Is there something any advice that you would give to students here or at any other university who are trying to break into the music industry or are passionate about music and want to make something like that their passion?
Yes. All right, I'll direct the camera.
Yeah, listen up, folks.
Listen, I'm talking directly to you. And Sarah, please pitch in too. I'm sure you have something different to say. But I would say the most important thing is when you're here, it can get extremely stressful, as everybody knows. And so, and you might feel as if you might be getting a little bit behind, not enough time to practice. If you're a singer, you're not getting the right kind of sleep that you need for your vocal health. But the most important thing to remember is that you have something special to give to others. And so, have enough confidence in yourself to really believe that you will be able to get back on track. Keep trying.
What I would say is that take the opportunities that we have here at Princeton.
Yeah.
There's so many wonderful opportunities for whether you're a violinist or whether you're a singer or even if you're stepping in the realm of musical theater or even theater. And so just take advantage and look at all your options.
Yes, you can really enrich your musical education, because a lot of people who go to conservatories or music schools, they might become extremely accomplished, but they'll never have the
you can have a variety of
the
experiences.
culture or the expansion of knowledge that you need to really have something to say musically. So that makes you special.
And that's what you can definitely do here.
So I want to talk a little bit about that expansion of knowledge. So you both play various musical instruments, is that correct?
Yes.
How were you able to learn so many things at once, apply to Princeton, you know, go and give concerts, be on television shows? How do you have the time for that? What magic pill have you guys been taking that I have yet to find?
Thank you, first of all. But I think it goes back to the way that we were raised again. Because when we were children, we were given a lot of freedom to read, to inquire in any field of knowledge that we were interested in at that time. So I think that's really stayed with us. So, for example, we were encouraged to write a lot. We are both poets.
We
enjoy doing
both
that
published
in our
poets.
spare time. Yes.
Wow. Wow. Tell me a little about your poetry.
Yes. Well, my favorite English poet is John Keats.
Okay.
As you might imagine, I'm studying literature here, French literature.
Wow.
Yeah, and my favorite poet's John Keats. So when I first started, I was trying to emulate his style. Now I've come into my own a little bit. And Sarah writes mainly narrative poetry. She likes writing short fiction, especially.
Wow. Well, you are the two most talented people that we've probably ever had on the show or Princeton's campus. And also, I hear that you have sung the highest 2 notes on Princeton's campus. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
First of all, how long have we been recording the highest notes sung on Princeton's campus? Is there like an archive book somewhere since
well, you see,
1746?
This is not braggadocio.
Okay, no, please.
I did
feel
check.
free to brag.
No, because to my knowledge, nobody was singing the arias. I did check in the archives. Nobody was singing the arias I was singing, and those featured the highest notes.
So you were
so
just
based
the
on
first
that
to sing the
I was
arias.
the first to sing the arias. So now the first time was I won the Princeton University concerto competition, singing Glitter and Be Gay, and I was playing a woman who was going completely mad. And so I think as an extension of that, she hits an E flat, a high E flat. So after that, I was really motivated. I wanted to beat my own record. So I sang with the Princeton Chamber Orchestra, The Queen of the Night, and that's even higher.
Wow.
And Sarah was singing in that too. She was singing the role of Pamina. So it's really nice to come full circle. It's her favorite opera.
Wow. That's incredible. Maybe I should keep on practicing my own vocal skills and see if I can beat you there. But I'll try. If you train me, I will do it. So we actually don't have a clip of the aria singing, and maybe for the best, because I would feel very jealous of my inability to hit those high notes. But we do have a clip of the two of you singing in Richardson Auditorium. So we're going to bump to that. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Be sure to go to the concert on April 6th, like them on Facebook, check out the YouTube channel, and be sure to read their poetry as well. I'm sure it's really wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And here's the clip.
I grew up overseas, and it was always interesting to me seeing what people thought about Americans. I was in grade school, so they weren't grilling me on presidential foreign policy decisions, although you could tell they wanted to. I was in Poland one time, and a man came up to me and said, "Are you American?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Ah, the home of Harry Potter." Which is funny for several reasons. First of all, because no, it's not. But second of all, because it kind of implies that Harry Potter is like a real celebrity with like a house in Burbank, and they keep making biopics about his life, like he's Steve Jobs or something. I was in 4th grade, and we started a unit on decimals, and the worksheet began with a problem that said, Kirby Puckett has a batting average of 0.314, you know, the way batting averages are. And she looks at the sheet and goes, wow, Kirby Puckett must have been a terrible player if he only hit the ball 0.3% of the time. So I tried to explain to her, no, in batting averages, it's actually out of 1,000. So she goes, well, that means he was even worse. He only hit the ball 0.03% of the time. He basically didn't hit the ball at all. I tried explaining to her, no, in batting averages, the number 1,000 is the same as the number 1, which is true. But she just looked back to the chalkboard like, Aiden, you haven't understood anything today, have you? I almost failed day 1 of decimals trying to explain the stupid way we keep track of statistics in baseball. I was in Azerbaijan one time, which is a 99% Muslim majority country, and the topic of Christmas came up in French class. And the teacher goes, Aiden, what are some things Americans do to celebrate Christmas? And I'm like, well, we have a Christmas tree. Every year we put an evergreen in our house and we put lights on it. And this kid is sitting on the other end of the room and he goes, that sounds a lot like a New Year's tree. I said, what is a New Year's tree? And he goes, well, a New Year's tree is something we put in our houses every year and we string it with lights and we cover it with ornaments before New Year's. And I was like, well, okay. But we also have presents for Christmas. We put presents under our tree and then we open them on Christmas morning. No, I think you're thinking of New Year's presents. Every year, we wrap presents for each other and put them under the New Year's tree so we can open them on New Year's morning. I had one trick up my sleeve and I was determined to see this through. I said, yes, but we have Santa Claus. Santa Claus is this guy who wears red and he flies around at night and puts presents in your house. And I was thinking to myself, there is no way you have an equally insane tradition as that. I was wrong. He gets up out of his chair at this point and says, you stole that from Father New Year's. And I was like, who's Father New Year's? So he tells me, Father New Year's is a man who wears red and has a bushy white beard, and he flies around in a sleigh pulled by reindeer, and he lands on your house on New Year's Eve. You can come down your chimney and put your New Year's presents underneath your New Year's tree. There are actually some differences between them. However, during the USSR's occupation of Azerbaijan, Father New Year's turned into this dour, emaciated-looking man with a big wooden stick to hit people with. And he kind of looks around like, which children should I punish for un-Soviet behavior today? And it's funny to me, really, despite all the similarities, how different they actually are. Father New Year's is a scary Russian man sent by the Politburo to round up naughty children and send them off to the gulags, whereas Santa Claus is pretty much just our parents.
Kevin? Mark? Is that you?
Yeah, buddy.
Oh my gosh. What's it been, like 7 years?
Yeah, almost. God, have you been?
I'm great. I just got promoted, actually.
Look at you.
Thanks.
Where are you working at?
Over at McKinsey.
Wow, that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Remember Lisa?
Of course I remember Lisa. You two were always together. You married her. Oh my God.
2 daughters, actually.
Oh my God.
Yeah, enough about me. How you been? What you been up to?
Oh, you know, getting by. To be honest, you caught me in a bit of a rough patch, but, you know, God willing, I'll get past this soon.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Everybody has those slumps, man. Yeah, you remember Jimbo?
Jimbo?
Yeah, he sang with us for like 3 years.
Oh, that Jimbo! I love that guy!
Yeah, he works with me now. He just had his first son.
Oh my God. How the time passes.
Yeah, you're telling me. Alright, well, I gotta go. At Lisa's birthday dinner. It was great seeing you, man.
Absolute pleasure. Tell Lisa I said happy birthday.
Will do.
Hello and welcome to Princeton Through the Ages, a segment where we take a moment to tell one of the many tales from Princeton's rich and storied past. We begin our retrospective here, at Princeton Battlefield, the site of the infamous Battle of Princeton, which played a pivotal role in the bloody American Revolutionary War.
Something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there.
It was the morning of January 3rd, 1777, when, after his victory at the Battle of Trenton 9 days prior, George Washington advanced on the British garrison at Princeton while being chased by a British relief force led by General Lord Cornwallis.
Battle lines being drawn.
The charge into Princeton, led by General John Sullivan, took the British forces by surprise, forcing them to scramble for position. Another American regiment, led by Scotsman Brigadier General Hugh Mercer, noticed the British disorganisation and attempted to surprise them by manoeuvring behind the British forces. It was on that ridge, on the western side of the battleground, where Mercer's brave effort proved to be in vain. After brave resistance, the British forces overran his men, largely due to their muskets, which could be reloaded faster than the American rifles. Mercer stood alone as his men fled the British charge. Thinking that Mercer was Washington himself, the British soldiers cried, "Surrender, you rebel," before stabbing Mercer with their bayonets. Wounded, Mercer stumbled to a tree at this spot, to which he clung for the remainder of the battle, refusing to leave the battleground until Washington's deed was done. The Mercer Oak stands here today in memory of the sacrifice given by Hugh Mercer. He died in hospital 9 days after the battle. Shortly afterwards, Washington arrived with the Virginia Continentals and riflemen, taking up a position to the right side of Sullivan's men on that hill. Quickly, Washington rode towards the fleeing American troops and shouted, "Parade with us, my brave fellows. There is but a handful of the enemy, and we shall have them directly." Inspired by his words, the Americans turned and formed a battle formation. Washington rode forward, urging his men to follow him towards the British, who stood just out of range of the American artillery fire. Washington led them right up to the British ranks, and when they were only 30 yards away, turned to face his men, shouted "Halt!" and then "Fire!" At this point, the British also fired, obscuring the field in a cloud of smoke. It is said that John Fitzgerald, one of Washington's officers, pulled his hat over his eyes, for he could not bear the sight of seeing Washington slain. But when the smoke cleared, Washington appeared, unharmed, still waving his men forward. A volley of rifle fire and American artillery bombardment forced the British back and caused them to flee, as Washington gleefully declared, "It's a fine day for a fox chase, my boys." The American forces gave chase as the British retreated to the town, where the battle would continue as the remaining British forces sought refuge in Princeton's Nassau Hall. But that's a story for another day.
Stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's growing now. Stop. Hey, what's that sound?